this is Blondie from the Blondie Workshop. Previously we did Scarlet, which was the blonde to red, and we did Billie, named after Billie Eilish, where we went from blonde to black to platinum, essentially, but I call it blonde to black to blonde. And so, again, this is Blondie. We're going from blonde to a golden brunette, and then if I'm in the mood, I might tone her an ashy brunette. I'm not sure. So let's talk about this mannequin. First of all, it's from Pivot Point. I love Pivot Point mannequins. This one is named Bridget Marie. Love her. Lots of hair, great mannequin head. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on damp hair. I made it damp for a few reasons. Number one, we're going to have an easier time saturating. We're going to have an easier time with consistency. And also it's going to give us a little bit more of a softer look. So she's not going to absorb as deep as she would have if we had put it on dry hair. So we're going to start her first prime on damp hair. We're going to start in the back. As you may have noticed if you've been watching all of these videos, and especially with Scarlet, the blonde to red, by starting in the back, I create a concentration of color pigment. So it's almost like creating a fake shadow root. So when you do a brush bowl method rather than a bottle sink method where we're just going to the sink and putting this all over the hair at the same time, so it processes at the same rate and becomes a very, very uniform color. When you use a brush bowl method, you're creating a fake shadow root, which is going to give an appearance of being slightly deeper at the root and lighter towards the ends, which looks more natural. Clients want to have a look that is more natural. It's going to have more dimension, and we're giving that dimension without really trying. This is just a form, of the process. So let me mix up, and we are going to get started. Going to let her process for about 15 minutes before washing her, blow drying her a little bit, just shaking her out and starting our second color down formula, our second prime formula. I do want to mention that when you are sectioning off hair that is already damp, it's heavier. So when you section, it's hard to keep it clean. You're going to notice that the hair is kind of like falling all over the place, which is very different than when you apply color to dry hair. Definitely applying color to dry hair is the easiest versus this method, but sometimes this method is necessary. I will switch it up depending on what color I'm doing, how I'm envisioning it looking those are all deciding factors on whether or not the hair is damp or whether the hair is dry. This is color correction, so we're kind of on the fly. We're feeling what's going on, we're feeling the hair, we're feeling what the client wants. It is very fluid, so it's my job to give you a set of rules and then kind of move them in small ways as it fits the situation, because as you should already know, color correction is managing chaos and that's just how it goes. So from this process onward, we will definitely be doing this on damp hair. We're going to let our process for 15. How long am I going to let our process on my second prime? I don't know. I might let that one be 15 minutes as well, and then let my final one be 30. It all depends on how her hair looks. So we are doing this on the fly. We got a perfect prime. Now obviously we went in on this blonde without it being too terribly blonde, so I had that going in my favor. She was a bit more of a golden blonde anyway. So with this golden prime, she looks absolutely fantastic. This is what we want to see. We want to see this. This is beautiful. It is even from top to bottom. It is gorgeous. It is just gorgeous. This is what a perfect golden prime is supposed to look like. Now, if you're having problems with your client's hair at this stage and it is turning drab on the ends, you know that you have problem hair ahead of you. You will probably want to do another prime again with keratin. Keep adding that gold additive, and if you still have problems, then your next formula you'll have to continue adding gold additive until it finally gets to this kind of a shine. So now we're going to go ahead with our second color down. This is where we're going to get our depth, and we're going to solidify our depth in there. This is also where the hair is going to turn really ugly. Now clients generally don't like seeing their hair like this anyway. Usually doing a blonde to brunette on a client, I do not have them facing the mirror because there are things you cannot unsee. This color on your head being one of them. Green, most definitely a very bad color you do not ever want to see. So I never have my clients look at themselves during this process, ever. Just don't do it. Don't do it ever. It's hideous, right? And it's traumatizing. I think it is just emotionally traumatizing to see your hair look like this. Anyway, so we're going to color down, we're going to get depth. This is going to look like a really bad mossy green, and then we're going to fix it with something super simple. So let's get started. hair after the second prime down. She is not as green as she could be. So with this particular correction, it's all going to depend on the lightness of the hair. The lighter it is, the more green you're going to produce. She had a bit more of a dark gold base to begin with before I even primed her down with my first gold prime. And so it kind of softened a bit of that green. It's still there. I mean, make no mistake about it, it is definitely still there. But this is ish what she's supposed to look like. What's interesting is that this particular mannequin head has a ton of hair, so she's been holding a lot of water, which has made this a very light kind of a color, which I like. Actually, I like it very much because it appears more natural, right? So I'm going to go just like a little bit deeper. I'm going to let her dry. I'm going to go in right about now. And we should get a really nice color, some good depth in it. Yeah, and so if you look at this mannequin head and you see how different it is from the swatch. Do you remember the Gold Theory swatch in the Auburn priming video? Mixing color for swatches is extraordinarily difficult. Swatches are so small, so trying to mix up in the proper ratios for a swatch, very, very difficult. So because that swatch was platinum, we were starting from a very different color. It was also dry, so it's going to absorb a lot more color. So was it a very good representation of Gold Theory? No, not really. I knew this video was coming, so I wasn't sweating that swatch at all. I knew that this video on the mannequin head would show you more what Gold Theory looks like. So let's get on with our final color, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to put a final toner on her and cool it down, turn it into a different color. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. Isn't she beautiful? Oh my gosh. Look at that shine. That was amazing. And now we can definitely see what putting color on fairly damp hair can do. It actually created what looks like highlights. I know, I'm a magician. Don't ask me how I did it. I just managed to pull the magic out. And this is why my clients believe I can do anything, because I can give you a beautiful, warm, gorgeous, golden brunette and have it look like you have highlights. That's just the magic of me. But I do hope that I showed you that there are many different ways within the rules that I've created that you can make different colors. You know, we talked about whether the hair was dry or damp. You can bump the color up or down a level, keeping the same ground rules with your gold, your yellow kicker, your cool neutral, and your warm neutral. Let me get into why I use cool neutral and warm neutral, because then we're really getting just kind of an in-between golden brunette kind of a color. It's pretty universal. If you wanted to make it cooler in your final color, you could. If you want to make it warmer, you could. That is not what I wanted for this workshop. I wanted golden brunette specifically because golden brunette is hard for hairdressers to achieve. So let's start with the hardest first, and then you can throw a spin on it on that final color.